We'll go and watch this.
You're gonna watch from home?
Yep.
All right. All right, good evening, everybody. A little rainy Wednesday out there today, but better weather's coming. We got a little glimpse of it on Monday and Tuesday, so we'll be getting outside here soon, and hopefully everybody get out and start training a little bit. Get a little water flowing, pumps flushed out, and all that good stuff. Good? Okay. So tonight we're gonna go back over a little bit of that complacency stuff we talked about. And talk about, again, we're going to keep on the new members and recruiting and how we're going to, keep the volunteer fire service alive. And that'll fall in with mergers and paid staffing and different things that are going to happen to keep us moving. And not just here in this area of Western PA, Westmoreland County, but it's everywhere. And then we're going to touch a little bit. I don't know much about it. I've read a little bit about it, and I'm not going to get into names and different things. But most people have probably seen that there was an accident involving two pieces of fire apparatus. And accidents happen, we know. But we got to try to prevent those kind of things. And I'm not going to comment or pretend like we know exactly what happened, but other than what was shown on the video and what is printed on print, so we don't know the real truth, and we weren't there, and really only people that knew what was really happening there was the two drivers probably, and the guys that seen the trucks coming at them. But anyway, when we talked last time, 2 weeks ago, we talked about being complacent on incidents, such as gas leaks and automatic fire alarms, CO alarms, even as simple as medical assist, AED runs, whatever. That we go walking into these things sometimes because we've been there 10 times for the same thing, or it's just another smell of gas in the area, and then we see around us that things happen. So, and there was an incident, and I think it was south of here that, they had a gas leak, whatever gas it was leaking, and they had a catastrophic explosion. People were hurt. I think one person was killed, and the firefighter was killed. And we don't know what happened there. Other than what you read, and you can't really speculate on that stuff, what comes out in there and read. But one thing we were trying to get across was that, in the automatic fire alarms, especially, I know this year we've responded to a number of automatic fire alarms that have actually been a real, something was happening. There was an actual emergency. It wasn't just burnt food, dust in the detector, or some drywall sanding, whatever. That it was, I'm trying to keep my hands up on top of the table instead of pounding on them. Yeah. So they're still moving, but they're not beating on the table.
Get tired of Randy yelling at
you? Yeah, he yells about me clicking the pen and not beating on the table like a gorilla. But, we go to these alarms, these automatic fire alarms, and, we might have been to the same building 10 or 12 different times. I'll have it up, Ski. Just relax. Is there some coming up somewhere else? I was just curious because we merged all three of these pages to see how it went. We responded to these automatic fire alarms, and we went to the same building, twice in the past couple of days. Well, that don't mean the third time it's not something. So that's in the mindset in the truck on the way, whether you're in, in the service truck or the rescue truck, the fire, the pumper, the ladder truck, whatever. You got to be ready to do what we got to do. I stole the sticker, the saying, the expect fire, expect victims. I've seen it somewhere, and then we just put our patch on the sticker and put it in the front of the trucks and on the doors. And it's just a reminder when you're getting out of the truck that, hey, this could be something. We respond to buildings over here, the towers and the manor even, and we've had fires in there.
Absolutely.
I know a couple fires. There's been just one recent this year. We had a small apartment fire, nothing huge, but there was a victim in there, stuff was going on. So then we have one over there in the city of Greensburg, same thing. that thing comes in, we talked about it, comes in very frequently.
Westmoreland Community Action was a big one for a long time.
Yeah, that come in.
That it come in just about 3-4 times a week, and it was always nothing. And then the one time it's actually something, and then there's a victim.
Right, and even when he pulled up, there was nothing showing from the front, and then all of a sudden,
it was all confined in the apartment.
We realized we had a fire. They had a fire in the building, and someone was in there.
Yeah.
So it's always something, and it's important to just not get so complacent that you're not prepared in the truck, and And some people might think, it's overreacting, being masked up, bringing a can off, having a hook in your hand, a tick, going into the same automatic fire alarm you went into 100 times. But you get in there, and then what? You got to come back out, get dressed, do all this when it actually ends up being something. So
it's repetition.
Well, sure.
If you do it every time when it's nothing, you're going to do it when it's something.
Yeah, and it's always, we're always going to something,
right? Until it's nothing. The alarm goes off for a reason.
Right. Something happened, we're going to something until it becomes nothing. And another place to complacency, and I don't know if we talked about it last time or not, but I think an important place in that complacency, one, is traffic control on the highway.
Oh my God.
And it is the most senseless thing when we lose somebody or injure somebody or whatever on traffic control. And we do our part by using the apparatus to block whatever we're doing. Hopefully wear our vest, and, sometimes I don't have mine on, but, have our vests on the highway, or wherever we're at, a dark road, a bad bend, wherever. But the fact is we lose people and hurt people because someone's not paying attention.
Yeah. I mean, the true fact of it is we can do everything right, and we still lose somebody.
Right, but we catch ourselves getting flighty out there. We're out there for a half hour, 45 minutes, and we're just talking, waiting on a tow truck or whatever it is, and we're drifting out into one lane or something, or somebody's not paying attention to where you're at. You're not, hiding behind that piece of apparatus like we should. We park in 45, 50,000 pound vehicles out there for a reason. We'd rather have it hit, unless you're an insurance carrier, but than a person. But so there's a place that is really important, I think it happens very frequently here, everywhere. We do it, and geez, and I don't know. It's not that I don't want to wear the vest; I just forget.
Oh yeah, I mean, you got so much going through your head.
If I get there first, I jump out, run up, see, hey, anybody hurt bad, entrapment, whatever, and now I just never put it on.
Right,
and that's a problem. And I've yelled at myself, and I've been yelled at by others. That I should have my vest on and try to do better at it. But that's another place that complacency can kill us or injure us. And then we talked about these just as simple as an AED or a medical assist call, where somebody may be not feeling well or whatever, and it could be it could be a gas in there that we don't know, and that was where we. By pure accident, that meter had a number on it because that was the number of months that was left on the life of it. And I thought that something was in there until I asked. And then for the small cost that those meters were, it was worth getting two of them to put on our medical bags. That way we go just waltzing into somebody's house on a medical call, and there could actually be, CO in there or whatever it is. And we would have no idea until somebody started feeling sick, or we all started getting sick, and then maybe it'd be too late. And then, these natural gas calls that we get, whether it's natural gas, propane, whatever.
Coal furnace,
right? That was CO, but we roll right up in front of the house, park the truck in front of the house, jump out, and I've heard after a local incident that. Greensburg, I heard Tom Bell said on the radio one day, keep that engine back away from that, the address. It's smart.
We should probably all start.
Yeah.
I mean, now we're just putting ourselves
stop a little bit short and
right in the middle of everything that could go wrong.
Right. Something comes blowing out the front. And that's where it happens, right? When you're in the concussion part of the explosion, you're in a doorway or somewhere like that,
right.
That's where you end up getting whacked at. So that was just a little review of what we had talked about. And then, something we're gonna keep on going on is the recruiting new members. And I hope that sometimes the public sees some of these podcasts and whatnot. It's important for them to understand that we need help.
Absolutely.
And it's not. I know that. You can hear things where the training's so bad, and it is. I mean, it depends on how far you want to dive into this thing. But we don't only need guys and girls that are going into fires. We don't need just that.
Right.
There's medical
so many,
stuff to deal with.
There's so many things that need done on the fire.
And we have it in different aspects. Someone's geared more towards rescue. Mm-hmm. Someone that just wants to be there to help.
Right.
I mean, and there's training you still have to do for that, but it doesn't get to the so many. It doesn't. It depends on how deep you want to dive into it. Like I said, the training part. But we can use people to help us. Get tools, grabs tools. Get stuff back on the truck when we're done. Air cylinders need filled, and guys need checked on. When we're working.
Just an extra set of eyes.
You're right, and that's right, and you're right about that. And that's another thing that's overlooked too. And someone just watching what's going on. Well, how is this developing out here? And those kind of things, and just support people. To help us do other things, and it doesn't require much. To do some of that stuff. And it is a commitment, and it's something that you'll either find out you do love it, or or you don't, or you might come into it, or you might just be sitting at home going, well, I don't have time to do this, and this. But if we can get you on, especially with how many runs we get, it's middle of the road, right? I mean, there's people with way more, and there's people with less, but we're a middle of the road company, I think. 550 to 600 alarms a year. 5-6 things a month.
Yeah.
10 things a month. It can be done.
Absolutely.
And when you see guys, we brought a guy up through here, and I won't mention who it is, but he knew nothing about anything to do with anything even mechanical. And he, kind of started hanging around a little bit, and he, he's part of the borough, but he was hanging around a little bit, and then he would take some interest, ride on a truck with us, and now he's like,
he's in it.
He's almost like number one whacker right there with us. You know what I mean? If somebody's tone goes off, hey, we got to go. No, not yet, but he's still learning that part. But he's taken a liking to it. And it's really refreshing. It really is to see someone like him, and he's progressing, right? I mean, it started with just riding on a truck and kind of standing there and always saying, well, I'm not a fireman, so I don't know. Then we made him a member, and we made him, a whole member and everything. And now he got the gear and all the stuff, and he's always had it with him. And
got his own helmet.
He got his own helmet, right? And, he seems to love it. And he does. He wants to know where what are we doing next? What's going on now? And it is very nice to watch it, and it even relights a little bit of fire in some other people that to maybe have lost a little bit of it. And I mean, it's hilarious. Now then he went grabbing ladders off the truck, or he didn't even know what a Halligan bar was. Then he figured it out, and he'll bring it to you if you ask for it. And
and he's proud of it too.
He's proud of it. He likes to tell his stories, and
he knows exactly where it's at on the truck, and he make sure that
he got a little water on a brush fire. He couldn't have been more excited than like at least like a little kid in a candy shop. And he's here, but he's back here hiding, talking on the phone, so you don't hear what we're talking about. But right, Durso, that's what I mean. I mean, we're not low down there, but we're in the middle of the road. And then sometimes you have to have a fine line of calls, right, to keep people interested.
Right.
Now we can't have 3,000 calls a year because if you hold, it's like every 5 minutes the alarm going off.
Right.
But somewhere in the area, you get 6, 7, 8, 9,000 alarms a year. You can keep people interested because when you get 50 alarms a year, then it's like, the chance of you being there that day when that alarm happens to come in, then it becomes slim, right? But with the 600 alarms or 500, 400, it gives you the opportunity to make the number of alarms that we need to make, and we have to have a minimum, I think, at least we think that. We use that 10%, so 600, that's 60, that's, at 5 a month.
Yep.
And we include trainings in there and different things that are included in that system of the 10%. And I really got to think it wouldn't be that hard to do, but we need these members, and like I said, it's not just interior firemen. It's not just cutting cars apart, and which we do very few of those alarms anymore like that. But the way the cars are made, and the way these roads have become safer, the number of red lights, these Jersey barriers have eliminated them big heavy head-on collisions and things in certain places.
Roundabouts. Don't forget the roundabouts.
Yeah, the roundabouts. They keep traffic flowing.
They do.
Instead of just like bringing it to a stop sign, it keeps it like all moving.
Yeah, and I mean, so
at first I thought it was a little goofy, but I get it.
With my background in the automotive industry, these cameras they're putting in these cars now, I mean, it's going to essentially wipe out a traffic accident because these cars are going to talk.
Right, you would think they're gonna slow themselves down, stop them. I mean, you might still have the occasional fender bender or mishap and stuff,
right.
But you even see we get cars with heavy damage nowadays that just don't.
Yeah,
there's just they break away from the compartment, the passenger compartment, and it's just not the same as back when the old heavy frame cars, the full frame trucks and cars were there. They hit something 150 mile an hour and the motor comes through the firewall and whoever's sitting in there. It just don't happen. It's not like it anymore. But the rescue, we need medical personnel. I mean, we run a number of medical calls in our borough, and then that includes then the vehicle accidents and all that stuff. And so what that threw me off there. This went sideways right on me real quick. But and like I said, there's stuff that needs done on the fire ground on a long crash or just a hazmat incident. And then there's that too, hazmat stuff. I mean, some people might just be some chemical genius that, wants to be involved in the hazmat end of it. And, we get some of that stuff. So, if you're a member of the public and you're listening or you've watched or you see us, please, and go to your local fire department, talk to the guys and girls down there. You get a cool outfit. We'll give you a couple hats and a t-shirt. You get to ride on a big red truck or white truck or green truck or whatever color your trucks are. But your local department does need you wherever you live. So just keep that in mind, and we'll talk about that as we keep going and different recruiting things that we have to do over the weeks and stuff. But something that falls in with that, and it's happening around us a lot. Mergers of departments, talks about paid staffing, and paid staffing at times where it's our bad time. Whether it's 8 to 4 p.m. or 4 to midnight or overnight or whatever our times are. It's been talked about, and of course it was in the newspaper, so everybody read it. And they want to do it. It sounds like they want to do it, but it sounds like now that they're going to wait to maybe talk to their members first too, right. Which is important. And we've said that here before that, ultimately the municipality leaders are responsible for the public safety in your municipality, be it South Greensburg, City of Greensburg, Youngwood Borough. The municipality leaders are responsible to provide that service, whether they have their own department or it's a department they contract from the outside. That's their responsibility. But I think it's also their responsibility to have input from the people doing it. I mean, right?
Yeah, I mean, what good are you if you just come in and throw a book down in front of them and say, this is how it's going to be?
Right, and just making decisions based on things, and
no, I mean,
it looks like it's happening. So that's important,
right?
Because at some points it doesn't, and no matter where it is, if you watch and see how these, and believe me, this isn't the only place that, is doing this type of thing. I mean, accommodation departments have, popped up and different things and, been formed, and there's municipalities that just decertify their department based on whether they're not answering.
Right.
They don't have funding, and they don't have the funding to do it. Training issues, incident issues, and it's just easier for them to go outside and get the neighbor to come over. Or, I mean, and I won't say who told me, but I know there's another couple of departments that it looks like that it might be a merger happening and hasn't, not even close to here. But the fact of the matter is, the one department has, so many members, the other department has so many members, and they could probably, hit a softball and hit the other fire station, and well, it only makes sense right now. This department here has older apparatus, and this one has, middle of the road stuff. But instead of every time when these departments or municipalities have to contribute to replacing 3 trucks in this department and 2 at this department, when really you could cut that down a little bit and get to, so many trucks. And I mean, you only need so many trucks at a fire.
Right.
I mean, unless you got, I'm a normal bread and butter fires, Randy calls it. So, and what do you 2 engines, a truck, and we can probably wrap it up.
Right.
Then it gets beyond that, then we just call for outside help at that point. But at that point, when it gets to a certain point, then it's, hey, get our people out and let's just protect what's around it and get this thing, not to cause any more damage than it already has. Because fires get away from everybody.
Mm-hmm.
But you get these 1-room fires and 2 engines, a truck, an engine, a truck. Sometimes just an engine, or can just handle it. But we need people on them.
Right.
That's where it gets. Why people say, why do you call that many people to a fire? Well, it's not always the equipment that we need. I know it looks like a parade of fire trucks up and down East Block. Sometimes it's the people that we need. And whether it's because of short staffing or because it's hot out that day or freezing cold, guys get worn out easy. And, remember, we're all in the best shape of our lives doing this. So it
you got 2 of them sitting right here.
Right. And what are we going to last anymore?
Right.
45 minutes, half hour at best, working hard.
Yeah.
And then we're done.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest problem is, I mean, you see a block full of fire trucks that have 1 or 2 guys on them.
Right. And that's what will help with some of this merger stuff. At least we get a fuller truck and get a full crew there right away, and stuff like that. But this merger stuff, this paid staffing things, it's coming.
And I mean, there's plenty of departments that already do it.
Correct.
That make it work.
They make it work, right?
And they do it well. Whether it's, you have paid on call or you have combination paid and supplemented by volunteers still, it works.
Right. And whether you call it career staffing or it's just, the guys, these departments have retirees that are around. And even, just like an evening, some guys, and you need some maintenance done on the trucks, which is hard to get done. You give the guys, some money and everybody's happy, and it keeps people around the firehouse and does that and keeps the trucks on the road. So it's happening. And to fight it and say absolutely not never is probably not the right thing either. I mean, we got to keep our eyes open to this. because, you know, we talk about it 1 month here and you got a ton of naysayers on it. And then you see a couple months later as things are progressing, or a year later, and well, maybe we need to do something. You know, whether it's, you know, our issues are always Friday evening, Saturday evening are usually our biggest issues right now. Mm-hmm. We're fortunate we have retirees during the day. A couple guys are able to scoot out of their job if we have something and come. So that's very helpful. And other departments have that, and some just don't have it at all.
Right.
So daylight's out, you know, 90% of the time they're just out during the day.
And nighttime they're superstars.
Right. Nighttime on weekends we're all ready to go. But so that's just something that's coming, and everybody should keep their eyes open to it. And whether it's just a conversation with your neighbor or whatever, keep it open, you know, and there'll come a time. There's going to come a time for all of us.
Yep.
You know, as we're waiting on a new pumper to come in, and, you know, when it gets here, in reality, that may be our last truck we ever buy. We may be a different department in the 10 years from now when, you know, that truck needs replaced. And I know you're all looking at me funny, but I'm not kidding. It's serious. It could really happen. You know, or we need to replace that big rescue with all that stuff we put on it. Do we need it?
Right.
And
I think time will only tell with that.
Well, you're right. And time will tell, right? We're going to see where we're going to be at. And, you know, even 5 years, where are we going to be?
Yeah, the way things change,
guys that
quickly.
I'm going to be, you know, I'll be 52 in 5 years, and
I'll be almost 40.
You know, oh wow! Yeah. And you know, there's going to be guys that are going to be 65, 70, and we even have that now,
right?
I mean, we have a 70-some-year-old in better shape than the rest of us, and he lets us know about it
every day.
But he's here, and he's willing to help.
Yeah.
And he's still willing to get on the fire truck and go out there and do what he can do, right? And that's what, when we talked about getting people to do, you know, whatever we need, there's not just those things where, well, I'm not going to join the fire department because I don't want to go into burning buildings. Well, then don't.
Just don't go into burning buildings.
Yeah, just don't go into burning buildings.
There's plenty of other things to be done.
There is plenty of other things to be done. So I guess if everybody just keep that in mind, and we talk amongst our friends and neighbors, and like I said, your neighbor, you don't have to sit down and break bread with them every day at dinner time. But and this is a learning thing for me too, and everybody knows it, is playing nice with everybody. And believe me, we try. I think it's raining out there like crazy. I think it's pouring. So, you know, I try to play nice. It's the little things that put me over the top. Like the little things that just, you know, that we should know better without even thinking about it, that make my blood pressure rise. And that's my problem. You know, it's something I got to deal with, and I fight the demons every day out there. There's a few people out there that know they have the same demon in them. So the next thing I wanted to talk about, and this is something, again, I don't know a ton about, other than what I've read and videos I've seen of it. There was an apparatus crash here in Pennsylvania. It was a tiller truck and a very large rescue truck. From what I understand that I read, and I won't, you know, we won't get into, I don't want to even point blame, other than I want to just bring it up and bring it to light because it can happen at any time, right? It can happen between two pieces of apparatus, our apparatus in a vehicle. I mean, you know, when we're coming down, and, you know, everybody does it. I do it, stand on that queue and got that air horn blaring coming down the street. And the general public, it puts some people into a panic. Mm-hmm. And you got to watch, are they going to pull left in front of you? Or are they going to go right and get out of your way? What's going to happen? But one thing that I saw in the video, and I guess it's fact, is that the rescue truck had a red light and the tiller had a green light, and they were using those preemptive devices and gave the tiller truck the green light, and they collided, and just in the intersection a bit, and fireman got hurt. That's the most important thing we have to worry about is our personnel getting them, back on the mend, and that lives weren't lost, and that we get that all straightened out. But another thing, and it's not as important, but it's important, is the financial cost of the damage is done. Those ladder trucks aren't cheap. That heavy rescue, I'm sure, wasn't cheap, and there's some significant damage, it looked like, to both of those vehicles. And they were responding to a house fire from what I read. It was raining. And whether you have the green light or not, getting in an intersection where it's, and I don't know it only shows a video, so you can't comment on what the field of vision was for either driver or what you could see or what was going on there. We're going to listen to see what. Nope. Okay. So, no matter you're getting in an intersection, you should slow the truck down a little bit. And I don't know that they weren't or didn't. And right, that's right. And I'm getting there. But you got to use common sense driving these trucks. I mean, I know our pumper weighs 44,000 pounds. The only reason we know that is because we had to have it towed and we had to have it weighed. And so that's 22 tons. It just doesn't stop like a car.
No.
You gotta just use, and I know the words in the law are due regard. And whatever you think that means, that can be objective, or whoever. I mean, my due regard and your due regard could be two completely different things, and they probably are. But
but it's a gray area.
Me driving the car and me driving the apparatus are two different things, right?
And that due regard are two totally different things.
Right, completely. Going 70 mile an hour in a car is a lot going 70 mile an hour in a fire engine or a ladder truck, rescue truck, whatever it might be. And there's another thing, one thing with the driving, the training. And we talk about how training sometimes dams the fire department because it's a lot to go through. But, and I know we do it, and we're fortunate in here because we have Greensburg over there that sets one up, and I call and see if we can get permission to just go over there and drive through it. They have a course, and we discuss the driving here. Our drivers all have EVOC and those type of things, and that always doesn't do it either. It's getting behind the wheel and putting the time in the seat.
Right.
You can take all the classes you want, read all the books you want, until you get behind the wheel of one of those trucks. And it's completely different if we just decide to take it over to get fuel, or we're responding to an automatic fire alarm, or we're going to a house fire with confirmed entrapment. Then the foot gets a little heavier because we really want to get there and help, right? I mean, that's what we're doing here, but we got to get there.
Yeah, we're no good.
Yeah, we crash a truck out on the side of the road. It's no good. And believe me, I'm not taking any shot at the two companies that were involved in that, but that's something, and it just doesn't happen. I mean, this happens everywhere. I mean, you see them all the time. These trucks rolled over, and most of them, a lot of them are probably preventable. Based on just tunnel vision, getting, I have the green light. Well, that's great. But if there's a truck coming out, back it down a little bit, And, whoever's fault it ends up being, it is what it is. They'll determine who's at fault and, what we could have did different. And there may even be recommendations to the truck that had the green light. Hey, it's raining, that truck's long, it's heavy, slow it down a little bit. And that's just where we got to try to keep our mind right when you're behind the wheel. And you get the guy, and what happens is you're driving the guys, and the worst thing you can have, and this is, I probably one of the little things in life where I would lose my mind, is if you had an officer or a guy in the back screaming, hurry up, or you got to go faster or whatever, just let the driver drive the damn truck. You know, help him out and give him directions, but don't interfere with his driving or try to make him go faster than what he wants to. And, you know, you might, hey, there's days when you got a guy that just come off of driver's training. He put his time in and it's his first call. You're on your way. Oh, this is a good one to let him drive to, right? And we try to do that here is once you're a new driver, you know, new fresh driver, not coming in from and driven before, but we'll let them drive to McDonald's for automatic fire alarm. Well, then hell, somebody gets there and his fire blown out of the roof. Well, now it's become a whole different thing, right? And they can't come out of their comfort zone. Get the truck there. Somebody's going to get there, but we got to make it. So that's something. It's just stuff that I see, you know, during the week in the news and stuff that it's nice to talk about because it can happen to any one of us at any time, any of these things. Mm-hmm. We are not immune from accidents.
And I mean, you said it perfectly. Everybody on the road, they see the lights, they hear the sirens, and they immediately freeze up and do the worst thing possible.
Right.
Every time.
Right.
And we have to be prepared for it.
And, you know, we all don't have CDLs.
No.
And you know, it'd be too costly to do it. It really would. But we can, you know, train our people just like they do that. And, you know, then there's other factors in training a driver, depending on what type of apparatus you have. You have an engine, you know, you got the pump involved in there. And then if you add a ladder to it, then you got the aerial device that needs to be ran. And, you know, one of the biggest and most important thing is with those ladder trucks is positioning the thing. You know, where I got power lines, trees, obstructions, you know, I got to get my outriggers out, I'm going to push cars up on the curb, whatever. But, you know, and then, you know, you throw rescue trucks in there, you have rescue pumps and different things that need to be run flawlessly. So there's a lot of things that go into operating that piece of apparatus, didn't just drive the apparatus and just driving it there. And, you know, we always say anybody can drive forward.
You gotta go backwards too.
You gotta go backwards. You gotta be able to turn the damn thing and not be driving over the curb every time and signs and the car on the corner and ripping mirrors off going down the street and stuff like that. We just gotta be careful when we're out there in the trucks. And that goes for just going to a drill or to eat or wherever you take the fire truck. I just wanted to touch on that real quick because it was something that was pressing in the news and it's not something again that we're immune to here. So, all right, that's probably it for tonight, and we will get back to you probably in 2 weeks, and we'll see what else we can come up with in the next couple of weeks. Like I said, anybody ever has ideas or wants to sit here and talk. Even if you want to talk off the camera, we're willing to talk to you about it. So we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.